Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the new episode from podcast series by BL Inside Circle. We are a one-year program at IIMK, and BL Inside Circle represents one of the circles from BL, and we like to take or would love to take insights from leaders across industries and across platforms. So today we have not one, we have two guests. It's a father-daughter duo. The father, Mr. Dr. Tushar Guha, is the founder of one of the first, I think, pioneers in India about personality development. He was founder of the group or the company called Nrityanjali Group. So, Sir Tushar sir is a corporate trainer, speaker, orator, actor, dubbing artist, and he had created history in the year 2000 when he was awarded the first doctorate in PhD, first doctorate in personality development in the world. Uh, Anonna ma'am, daughter of Tushar sir, she is also in the business and active in the business in 1997. Fun part, I know them because they had tutored me for one of the sessions of personality development when I was in school way back in 2009, 2010. So let's call them to the podcast and let's hear from them directly.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Hello, ma'am. Good morning. How are you both doing?
Fine, thank you.
Good morning. Doing wonderful, thank you, and hope you're doing well too.
Yes, yes, very well. Because you both are there, we are doing very well. So, starting from our first question about the group, about the Nrityanjali group. So, sir, you started this group when you were at the tender age of 15. So, you must have had so much of passion and so much of thought in it. We want to hear about your story and what do you think lacks in today's youth about the vision and about the discipline.
First of all, thank you for inviting me for this broadcast. Uh, at the age of 15, obviously, as you very rightly said, now when I look back, I find it as passion. At that time, I just loved doing what I was doing. That is, I got the children, I would like to teach them, dramatics and dance and oratory skills and things like that. And they were possibly inborn in me, and I was groomed that way right from childhood by my parents. And I had my teacher, who was a principal of the nursery school, which was set up because of me, Mrs. Anima Roy. And she and my parents were very liberated people, radical people in the 50s. And naturally, I grew up with that kind of radicalism, liberalism. And therefore, I went on. So when I look back, I find, yes, passion. And as you said that, what the today's generation lacks, I don't think anybody lacks anything. Even in our generation, everybody wouldn't be having the passion. So even now, there will be plenty of people who have passion, but possibly, as I was discussing it off the record, that what happens is a lot of us have passion, but then our environment, circumstances, they compel us to take up something which possibly we don't enjoy, but then there's no option because financial constraint is a very, very important part. So therefore, we have to have one guts and the joy inside and the perseverance to take on the difficulties, the pain, the hurdles that come in. For me, it happened. Yes, I had the pain, I had the struggle, I had everything. But then, honestly speaking, I was coming from a very, very extraordinarily sound financial background. So initially, I didn't have to. And then as I started, at that time, I did not know, even at the age of 15, it is personality development. I think that dawned on me by the time I was 26 and 27 years old. And by the time I was 30, 35 years old, I was all sure. And when I did my doctorate, I started researching on human relation from the age of 15 without knowing it was research. But by the time I was 25, I knew that it was a research. By the time I was 30, I decided, yes, it has to be doctorate. And everything followed. So even today's generation, there are plenty, I meet plenty of people, but yes, we have to succumb at times. We cannot help it, but we can always come back. Yeah?
Yeah, right. Ma'am, my second question is to you, Anona ma'am. So, I presume the clients of your group are students first, and then there are also corporate clients. So, how do you strike a balance between the, say, the services which you provide to students as well as the corporate? Because personality development is a is a very deep and insightful topic.
Uh, Thank you, Dhi. That's an interesting question. And firstly, let me categorize into two parts the way Nrityanjali works. So, when we are talking about students and education, they are not what I look at as my clients. So, they are students, they are the youth, they are the people that we have been working with for years together. Why I'm saying is they are not really clients, I look at it, because when you say clients in the corporate language means that there is a monetary relationship. So there is something that the client is paying, and there's something that the vendor or the supplier is delivering in lieu. So there is an exchange of service. But with education and students, that is not the way we work. So you will be surprised to hear that for the last 58 years on Sundays, every Sunday, this is again started by our mentor and founder, Dr. Tushar Guha, students are coached free of cost, gratis, in all elements of performing arts, in all elements of journalism, in all areas of event management, which is which are multiple areas of personality development, because personality development is an umbrella term, right? So under that umbrella term, that is how we do it. So that's on the student education part. Now, as far as the corporate clients are concerned, yes, that is a monetary exchange there, because as we mentioned to you earlier, that Nrityanjali is primarily and NGO. It's a trust, public charitable trust, and all the work that we do over there. So for a corporate, what happens is corporate does CSR, right? So when the profits are generated, that money is diverted into CSR, corporate social responsibility. Nrityanjali works just the reverse way. So for Nrityanjali, the social work and the service comes first. Everything else we do is to generate income for that through our trainings, through our cultural performances for corporates, to plow back that money into the work that we do in the field of education, the work that we do in the field of cultural grooming for students. So coming back to the question is, how do we strike a balance? I think I'm very fortunate that we straddle this wide segment. And we straddle this wide segment primarily because Sir has started off with Nrityanjali's vision being channelizing the energies of the youth into constructive activities through the performing arts forms. And you will notice in my TEDx talk, which is based on Sir's research, we include in performing arts, dance, drama, music, instruments, as well as sports. So sports is also performing art form, because what we're talking about is that where there is an audience that we are relating to, in that sense, we are calling it that. So the fact that we look at an age group of right from a 3-year-old to an 80-year-old makes it absolutely very grassroots connection, makes it in a way that one understands the psychology, what is working behind each person's mind, and helps us to connect better. Because even the corporates, they are not robots, right? The corporate professionals, and we talk about it, who are corporate individuals? They are the people who were students at some point in school, whether it's you, whether it's Akshat Bansal here. So we have been students there, and then we graduate to the corporate level. It's not as if we started at the age of 30 joining a corporate house and doing it. So our emotions remain the same across. On the contrary, in the corporate environment, there is much more insecurity that we feel, because we're always trying to, deliver on something, justify on something, because it is related in lieu of what is being, whether it's our appraisals, whether the salary that we join in. Whereas at the school level, that openness is much more there, because one is not held accountable internally to everything, or that fear, or that, how should I put it, hesitation is not there. So in a corporate environment, one might hesitate to say a lot of things, considering, who are people around, because this also happens as we grow up into being adults. Because as we grow up as being adults, like Sir said, we succumb to certain situations. There are some things that even if one wants to say, one can't do that. Whereas in education, in the children, it is much more free-flowing, more spontaneous. They can get away with saying things, and one can say that, bacha hai, it's okay, right? So I think it helps us tremendously, because the emotion part remains the same. The non-hesitation part remains more in the education. whereas the hesitation part remains more in corporate. But I think it also depends in the corporate with the adults how well you connect. There are enough times when the connection is so good and the time spent with the adults is so nice that the hesitation and the inhibitions go away. It depends on how is it that we are creating the environment. So the fact that we work with children, we work with teachers, we work with parents, corporate professionals really love that about us, because we are able to give a multi-dimensional approach to life, not just unidimensional, which can be seen on from one particular point.
May I add something, if you permit?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Sure, sir, sure, sir.
For answer to this, we have to understand is what is personality development. People normally think is personality is all the outside, and I believe just the otherwise. I believe there is an inside and an outside, and they need to balance. You see, if my the inside is abstract, and I call it mind, intellect, and spirituality, that is compassion, that is what is called the CSR, and the outside is the body, and the inside gets reflected through the body. Unless and until this balance happens, personality development cannot happen. Only learning to dress up and walk and talking blah blah is not personality. Personality has to be accepted by the people around us. And while doing this, I believe that every person has a child inside. To answer your question about corporate environment, what we do in Nrityanjali Management Services is nurture that child in the corporate people. Because somehow when we become a corporate executive, we fail to understand or realize that I continue to be the son and continue to be the brother. I continue to be the husband, continue to be the father. I am not a marketing manager. I am not an IT guy. I am not the GM. That's not me. The holistic approach is a very, very important aspect. What Anonna ma'am said, because we work from children to this, so what happens is out of the box, we start connecting with the corporate people. Because when they say, oh, I mean, we are and we talk something reference to the child. So the gentleman feels, oh, my child is 10 years old. Okay, he's got an issue, because everybody's facing a lot of issues with their children. It's not today, it's always. That apart, personality development has got a lot of things. It has got human relations, it got psychology, it has got emotion management. Then, we say we groom thoughts. Nrityanjali's tag is we groom thoughts. Now and if you see Nrityanjali's logo, we don't have it's a peacock, but it doesn't have a gunguru, because we are very open to thoughts and open to ideas. So from here, what extends? Team dynamics come in, time management comes in, presentation skills comes in, everything. And people think that's corporate, but when the base is not there, that cannot happen. So it's very easy for us to connect. Our entire team of 180 faculty members are groomed that way. And all of them are very, very passionate about it. For us, it is work. It's a commitment. I'm never saying earning money is a crime. We have to have money, but that cannot be the priority. For Nrityanjali, that is not the priority. First is my work. Then, so there have been places where even in the corporates, depending on the size of the company and all, we have been charging much less. Whereas in certain cases, we have been charging high. And you heard in education, there are educations, totally everything free. Till date, all my counseling of Dr. Tushar Guha, what he does is everything is free till date. And I have 3 to 4 counselings a day, even now online. So that is the commitment. So we have to understand what personality is, the concept of personality. And it is the same from a child to 80, 90 or 100-year-old, because we are all human beings. No? That's what I wanted to add up.
Sir, following up on that question, following up on that response. So yesterday we had a talk on, how on 3 kinds of smarts. One was academic smarts, one was career smarts, and the other was happy smarts. So usually kids are very good at happy smarts, and we were being taught, how to embrace both of them. I mean, we embrace career smarts and happy smarts. So coming back to the question of, corporate environment, what are the various challenges you find in a corporate environment where, the employees are not that willing to open up? Like kids will be very much willing to soak all the information that's around them. Whereas corporate environment, people are like they're bound by so much responsibility, so many of the what you can say tasks at hand. So how do you get them to break in other words, how do you break the barrier that's there between you and the personality that the other person wants to achieve?
Yeah. A very, very interesting, Akshat. It's very interesting. I'll tell you, I think we are very, very conditioned. All the corporate houses, I mean, somehow our image has been created. So even if before you join a work, you're conditioned. Oh, it has to be like this. Why? Why can't we be open? But every management also is like this. Every time I name any PSU, I have been always a corporate trainer there for almost for 20 years. Take up L&T, take up Tata's, I have been a corporate trainer, and how I know that I am successful, because I have a recall value. For last 20 to 30 years, I'm being called over and over again. My team is being called over and over again. Obviously, we are delivering.
I would completely concur with that you have a high recall value, because that's why you are here. Because I had my schooling in 2009 and 10. I have met
Yeah.
you and Anonna ma'am after my 10th. I think this is the first interaction we are having. And
So,
still, I'm so eager to continue,
thank
sir.
you so
Thank you.
much, Deep. As I was telling you, so what happens is when we touch the chord, we touch the chord deep inside of every corporate person, and I'm talking even of the board of directors. I'm not, and also the non. And I think me and my team, we are the only corporate trainers who train both the non-management and the management. Usually, when you're training for management, you are not expected to train because they are looked down upon. But I feel they are humans. And if I do not know the reality of the non-management, how do I manage and whom do I manage? Unfortunately, we top managers, we don't think about it. Because when we start rising, you know what happens? We get cut off from the roots. And when I cut off from the roots, how do I manage? I have to know the roots. Can you walk without your legs? So you have to take care of your legs. So, but unfortunately, that is not there, because somewhere we have all this kind of, I am an intellectual, I'm an elite. An elite cannot be an elite unless and until he or she knows is connected to the ground realities. And I feel very, very proud about Nrityanjali. We are extremely, because till date, we are working with the tribals, we are working the rural, urban poor. So that means all those who are non-management people. So at the end of the day, when we have the top executives have to get the work done, they have to get it done. And you know how we get the work done? Everybody has to do through the psyche. It's the way I talk. Don't you will notice once you start working, we tell somebody that I want this. So he says, nahi, wo hum kar nahi sakte. They say, ab mere liye kar do na. What did you do? You did EB. What is EB? Emotional blackmail. Ki mere liye kar do na. So you have broken the rules, right? Broken the barriers. So you have touched the chord. So I do with the chords, and in almost all modules of, I have more than 150 modules, which has been published as I think called People Management, the foreword of which is written by Vasant Kumar Birla and Sarla Birla. Okay, in 2012 it was published. I have published all my modules. In every module, you know what I have? I have, my faculties have one-to-one, we don't call it counseling, one-to-one interaction with every trainee. And that trainees could be 55-year-olds, 58-year-olds, and senior executives, because for them also a lot of things got suppressed inside. So we are making a show. But if I'm not genuine, how can I believe? Everything has to be from within. If I'm genuine, there's no replacement of genuinity anywhere, come what may. And I think you referred to happy smart. You know, when I believe if that happens, career smart and every other smart automatically happens. It's not that, it's that's something that I need to love. And I'm convinced. I believe in myself. And maybe here you are saying about your school, you must have heard that time there is a package you used to have called Believe in Self. So we always say, if I believe in self, and believe in self means what? In my ideas, in my thoughts, in my passion, in everything, then automatically I will rise. Nobody can stop. When I look at me, personality development was unheard of. I used to be called an idiot. I used to be called the bigra hua beta of a rich man. All this kind of things I had because the concept wasn't there. It took me a lot of time, and gradually one led to the other. The Secretary of Education, then Mrs. Kumud Bansal, she heard me and got impressed. Mr. Suresh Prabhu, then the chairman of Saraswat Bank, heard me and got impressed. They joined me, and one thing led to the other, and then history happened. So it's always that you have, yes, I definitely say luck is a part of it. You never know. You have to have the right people at the right time and all that. But we cannot choose that. I somehow believe, whether it's God or any other power or not, but I believe if I'm working hard, it may take time. I became a doctorate at the age of 53. So by that time, you're written off. By the time you're 40, as per corporate, if you're not successful, you're a failure. And I heard all that. But after 53, I never had to look back. So that's how we connect to the corporates. Okay.
I'll just like to add one thing, Akshat, if that's all right with you. When Sir mentioned about the fact that all his modules are published, all his 150 modules, and I remember when he decided to do it so many years back, and he said, "Okay, I'm going to publish all of this," and I said, "You're going to put it all out for everybody? Everybody can just take it, read it, copy it, and present?" So he said, "Yeah." So anyway, people are doing it. So if they're doing it, might as well, have the original and do a better job. And I'll be very happy if they can do a wonderful job and make a wonderful thing out of it. And when you're talking about breaking the barriers in a corporate environment, I'm relating it to that. That's when I realized over a period of time is that I was so worried and so insecure myself is that if everything is going to go out, what happens to the kind of work that we are doing? And over the years, I have completely, naturally been groomed in this environment, and I've come to accept the fact that if you are diligent at what you do, if you're good at what you do, then nothing else matters. Then that is one of the barriers there. That if you are internally happy, like we said, happy, smart, and if you have that belief in self that what I'm doing is right, and I believe that it's fine, then the barriers automatically get broken. And yes, it also depends on the kind of people that you're interacting with. With some people, you automatically put up the barriers. With some people, we like to let it down.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, so coming from that, the kind of events that Nrityanjali does, the kind of sense that I have got from the conversation so far is there's a completely strong focus on students' education, because they can be, at a very tender age, they can be groomed. So my next question is on the lines of that. Why is it even today that most of the education boards are not yet willing to have some, core mainstream, what you can say, educational personality development courses? I mean, it's something external environment, but why is it that even there's, some hesitation from the educational boards?
Yeah, I'll answer this to you, Akshan. This is a tragedy. It's very sad. It took me such a long time. So from 2006, personality development became a compulsory subject in Maharashtra in the state board schools. So if you did not pass in 10th with that subject, you would fail. So all that happened. But what happens is understanding an abstract subject like personality development is not a ball game for everybody. It requires a lot of depth. Like even when we have life skills in schools, can you believe this? That the schools have life skill? Well, the ho gaya na, third standard mein life skill. Abhi kya zarurat hai, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth. But what we do not understand, personality is an evolutionary process. It adds. Like you have study habit for 7th standard, but again you will have to have study habits for 9th standard. Again you have to have study habit for 11th standard. Why? Because the courses change, the syllabus changes, the pattern changes. Now you have to have that in-depth thing. That is one. Secondly, the financial aspect is a very, very important thing. You see, even the parents today look at, I was very fortunate. We are 6 brothers. We are very fortunate that my parents never focused. Although my father was 96 years ago, he was MS from Iowa University, USA. But he never said that academically you have to move ahead. Because honestly speaking, the top corporate executives, a majority of them are average students. Because only an average student has all-round development, and only one who has all-round development can be a good manager. What is the definition of manager? Managing people. So if I'm unable to, if I did not have an exposure to this, how will I manage people? I may be a brilliant MSc, brilliant economist, but where is the ground reality? Unfortunately, across the globe, what happens is we are all intellectual and academically qualified. And I think you will also realize the moment we start working, we find what we studied and what we are supposed to do are vastly different. And obviously that's good. That's why corporate people have corporate management. Others people like us would be jobless. So therefore, we go to train. How do you connect your knowledge with the practicability? Personality development connects the practical ability, but unfortunately, it is not taught. People, that realization has to come, because even parents don't think. Parents feel that is a waste. You will find every school writes all-round development. All-round development, how can it happen only 1 year? You played badminton 1 year, and then आपका हो गया. You played cricket 1 year, हो गया. You danced 1 year, हो गया. ऐसा नहीं होता है. It has to be. Today, the other side of Nrityanjali is we are all performing artists. I am a Kathak dancer. I learned from Lachu Maharaji, and I'm a Bharatanatyam dancer. I'm a Western dancer. I'm a folk dancer. I'm an actor, and I have received innumerable awards. Anonna ma'am is today in Kalaghora Arts Festival. She's heading the dance section. Okay, so we are all dancers, singers, actors, everything. Again, this is fixed notion. I had faced this, when how can you be a corporate trainer? You are a dancer. How can you be a singer? Okay, that is still possible. But how can you be an actor if you are a dancer? How can you be a psychologist if you are a actor? But why not? Gone are the days when we learned that be master of one, don't be jack of all trades. Today, be jack of all trades and also be master of one. And gradually today, I realized I was jack of all trades. Today, I'm master of almost 20 things, because I'm known as a renowned counsellor, that is a psychologist, renowned dancer, renowned actor, renowned singer, renowned writer, renowned corporate trainer, renowned educationist. To Huana. And I always keep on saying I'm a very, very average guy. I had 43% in state SSC in 1960s. You people are scholars. But that 43, Tom, Dick and Harry reached, no? By default, whatever you may call it. And it is possible, because when I have passion, what happened is when I was 15, you all asked me, right? That time I was more concentrating on my Senre Children's Club. Okay, studies were back. But as I kept on doing my graduation, post-graduation, I started saying, oh my God, I better do well. I cannot go. So I had honors in English literature in BA. In masters, I should second class first in the university. So I could do PhD. So all that happens because your maturity comes. You look at yourself only. When you are in 9th and 10th, you are forced to study. Today, you study on your own. Because today, your sense of responsibility has come. There's nothing wrong in it. So we have all gone according to that, This is where I think personality has to be understood by the people. It is not understood, and it is going to take time. It's going to take time. I have waited for almost 58 years. In the middle, everything has come up a lot. Again down, again it will come up. And I'm a born optimist. हर चीज में सुंदरता दिखता ही है मुझे. And I also believe as many people, there will be that many thoughts and opinions, and as many thoughts and opinions, there will be that many ways. So more the merrier. Like everybody have, let's just contradict everybody. So what? If I am confident, I will find my way. And that's the challenge in life. Life is full of challenge. In COVID, everything is down. We are not giving up. All the lectures are happening. Albeit everything is free. So what? We are enjoying it. We are doing something, right? So abstract things are very difficult to digest. That is my answer to it. Because every time, because we are more concerned. You see, at the same time, let's be very, very practical. Even in school, colleges, there is a client and supplier and this ratio. For instance, parents are clients, right? So we, as an education, as a school, also have to cater to something of there. Totally, I just can't do. You have to package it out. So there are a lot of issues. I'm not saying anybody is wrong, anybody is bad. But it is out of the pressure that we do, because we cannot, which in the beginning only I told you, out of circumstantial pressures, we have to give in a lot. So that is what is happening, but it will change. And it is stopped. It did not stop. What is happening is all these people are coming up and taking up private things. Again, there are other challenges. There are too many personality development classes have mushroomed. How many of them have researched? Cut-paste theory cannot give you the originality. Cut-paste theory cannot touch the heart. But we go ahead, okay, I have done this, fine. But then with maturity, everything changes. Everybody's outlook changes. See, today I'm feeling so happy. You're such young, I'm calling you boys, don't mind. Such young boys, you're thinking of a subject like this. Isn't it a fantastic thing? I mean, it's amazing. When Anonna ma'am told me about this, I said, whoever these boys are, I would just love them. Because if at this tender age of theirs, they're beginning their career and they're thinking online. So obviously when you all are managers, there will be a change, right? Wherever, whatever you all are going to head, you all are going to have this shower principle. You know what shower principle is? When you stand below the shower and you open the tap, your head gets wet, then the shoulder, then the feet. That's what should happen in management. If you go to a pond, your legs get wet first. And then when you take a dip, your head gets. So management has to come from top. So I am so happy IIM is having this kind of people who are thinking like this. So future is very, very bright. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Ma'am, you want to add up something on this question?
Yes, I just wanted to say, one of the core philosophies when we're talking about education sector and personality development is what Nrityanjali believes, which sir always says, that first class ko first class banaya to kya banaya. You know, the person who has already come with a particular level of marks, he or she is anyway pretty much up there, right? So there is only this much possibly that we are egging him or her to reach. But what we end up doing in personality development, like sir said, the various classes which come up. So all the students, when you're talking about the fact that is it personality development, is it a part of the course in the school? But we have a whole lot of students who are a part of Nrityanjali and who are getting groomed in personality development through the various channels. So that grooming is happening either through the education system, or the ones who choose it are having it in the, should I call it the non-formal education system. So education system has both, right? You have formal education, you have non-formal education. So it's happening the non-formal education wise also. And we have scores of people when we say personality development education, where we have seen them, failing in their 12th standard exams and coming to Nrityanjali regularly every Sundays. And the whole motivation, the whole environment is such that they end up getting distinctions. And that is something that we believe is right, is that the right environment needs to be provided, because when you're happy, you may be dancing, you may be singing, you may be an artist, you may be a sports person, but you can't only be glued to your books while and saying that I'm going to score academic, be academic smart. If I can balance it out with something, when I'm happy doing something, then my concentration, even in my academics, is going to be higher, even if I'm studying it for those 2 hours, because I have had 4 hours of joy doing what I enjoy. So these are multiple factors. Even in the non-formal education wise, it keeps coming back to us.
Yeah, Anonna ma'am, that she's my daughter. When she was doing her 10th, she was in Xavier's, when she was doing her graduation, or in the university MA, today she's a double PhD. But do you know, even on the eve of the examination, she was performing with me on stage. People say, "Aise kaise? Abhi aaj show kare, kal exam." But exam ke saath show ka kya connection hai? I'm happy, so I will do it. And she has been a scholar all through. So it's possible, but the environment, and that's what we try to give in Nrityanjali across. And even in the corporate trainings, even in the school teachers training, education trainings, non-management, every year we try to create this. People say motivation ka zarurat hai, technicalities pehle sikho, time management sikho. But if I'm not motivated, how do I implement time management? If I'm not motivated, how do I use team dynamics? I have to be motivated, no? So motivation becomes the base of personality development, where I have to think bright, I have to be open, I will accept every little thing that is coming to me. Thank you.
Maybe one last question before we formally end this. Sir, I just got to know that you were awarded in the year 1990 by Mumbai Police for diffusing a crowd of 400 people. So this sounds to be an interesting story. Please
Yeah.
give us a brief about it.
It was like this in from 1987 onwards. I was also training the police, police force in Naigaon and all that. Now all my work, everything has been always honorary. I never got paid for anything because that time there was no demand. Okay. And people there, the DCP, that is the Deputy Commissioner of Police and all, by that time they got to know that, and I was not a doctorate. Tushar Guha is the gutsy type of army. So where I stay, my bungalow and my institute is in the same campus, and the road is named as Nrityanjali Marg, from 1986 by Bombay Municipal Corporation. And so in that corner, we have Ganpati festival happening. Okay. Now, even then I was pretty known here. Okay, one because of my father, and second of Nrityanjali and my work. So I was made the permanent president, but I never knew for this puja part. I'm very spiritual, but I don't do this aarti or nothing. I don't even know how to do all those. So I would not go there. So it so happened on the last day, Ganpati mein, the last day is called Anant Chaturdashi, where the immersion of the idol happens. And you may be also aware that in Maharashtra, in Mumbai and all, what happens is when Ganpati festival happens for 10 days, main Ganpati idol is there, but along with that, they have a lot of other statues like Krishna, Arjuna, Raman or Mahabharata, and people buy tickets to come and see the lighting effect, and that is the source of income. Now, on the last day, what happened is, now these statues remain, they are hired. So only what is the immersion happens on the main idol. So people took the idol and went away, and this. Now some miscreants came and broke the hand of Lord Krishna. And so naturally there was a riot, Devacha Hath Tutla and all that stuff and Maramari. By 12 midnight, the Deputy Commissioner of Police comes to my house and says, and best part is my bungalow has been 3 stories. So my bedroom was on the 2nd floor. I could actually see that there are 500 crowd, huge crowd. So he comes and says, you have to come down. There's tremendous problem. So I still remember I was having a red lungi and a white kurta. I came out with that and I found 400 rioters there with open sword and soda water bottle, and the other side 100 helmeted police with a gun. And I'm a very, very gutsy person, and I'm that type. Maybe a dancer, but I'm a very, very gutsy person. So I just took the mic and I started talking to them. And I don't speak Marathi, by the way. I understand, I read, I write, but I'm not fluent. So I started speaking in Hindi. And what did I tell them? I said, first of all, you all have all gone for the immersion, and all of you started drinking. And the rest of the images were here. So isn't it your home? You should have. Somebody should have been here for the safety of the other idols. You did not. So that means, in other words, Kalku, in your own house, anybody comes and pulls your mother's hand, your sister's hand, your wife's hand, your daughter's hand, and takes them away. You're not going to say, you're not going to provide them protection. So sharam to aapko aani chahiye na. Ab riot ka kis liye kar rahe ho? Dosh kiska hai? You have been guilty. Believe me, as I kept on speaking, it was, by the time I came out, it was 1. And by the time it was 2:30, people started putting down their swords and all. Even the discipline always stunned. How could he? But maybe my voice had and the appeal, the way I spoke. And then they started dispersing. I had, and my wife and my brother and Bhabi were seeing from the window. They were crying because one shot from the back from the police. I am dead. One throw of the soda water bottle. I'm finished. And by that time, I told the DCP, I said, now get a truck and take all the statues and take them away, because then when there'll be nothing, there'll be no issues. And it was so significant that I won't name the political parties then. They were actually distributing free soft drinks and, tea and all that to incite people, just to capitalize, But it got diffused. And I still remember I had gone to Aurangabad for a lecture. In those days, there used to be no TV in the rooms. After the lecture, I was watching Marathi Batmya news. And suddenly I see my wife for something. So later on, I tried to call her up because there was that it used to be trunk call those days. She said, yeah, you got the bravery award. So I had to come and take it. I said, but for what have I got? She says, for this. So it was such a shock for me. But well, that again became history. That became a plus, another feather for me. Ye Tushar Guha is a बहुत हिम्मत वाला आदमी है. And the day I diffused it, I found the local, the place I stay in Bhandu used to be a Gunda Raj in those days. Lot of killing and all that. I found the local Gunda started coming and saluting me, thinking that I'm a Gunda. Doesn't matter. I said, all right, everything is fine. But that helped for my own institution. That helped building the image again by default. Nothing was designed, nothing was planned. One thing led to the other when it happened. But I do not know how you got to know that. But anyway, good to recollect the old things.
I think how he got is something, I have been puzzling for many months here. He gets so much information from so many sources. And I'm like, wow, that's something. And so that was a really wonderful story to hear. Now I would formally present the vote of thanks on behalf of the PGP-BL class of 2022 and BL Inside Circle. We would like to thank Dr. Tushar Guha and Dr. Anonna Guha for being with us today and giving us insights on entrepreneurship and personal development. From being driven by passion and to ensure financial independence, at the same time keeping the motto of Nrityanjali, that is students and children. The most important takeaway for me were passion, and rather than questioning why, question why not. And the significance of intrinsic motivation as a base for personality development. These are some of the key takeaways for me. I hope that the viewers also had similar and many more takeaways. Thank you, Tushar sir. Thank you, Anonna ma'am, for enlightening us with your presence here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting us. It has just been a pleasure talking to both of you. And through you, your classmates at the program. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's been a complete pleasure. Thank you.